Good morning and welcome back. Today we are going to be doing a painted collage. And what I'm going to be doing is introducing you to, I'll take a few minutes, just not spotlighting myself, and then I'll go to the table. But I wanted to introduce you to a way to find your way. And if you're going to have a lot of things in one painting, and they don't have to be uh, people and places, as and I'm going to be showing you, they could be a group of flowers, they could be a group of buildings, architecture when you're traveling. Say you're traveling through, even South Jersey, and you go to see Lucy the elephant, and you go here and you go there, and you take snapshots, and all of a sudden, this is your New Jersey. This is your composite of what you've seen. So I want you to think of it not just as in town things as I have, but it's also a good memory piece for anything. Okay. Let me go to the table now. I'm welcoming everybody back. I'm glad to see you all here, and it's a beautiful day, so we can spend our hour and then go out in the sunshine. Okay, let me get to the. Oh, I am there already. Okay. Um, this is my actually my sketch that I started with, and not unlike the painting when I tell you to do a palette for yourself and a little sketch for yourself. This is in fact what this is this time, because it's complex, and you can make this as complex or simple as you feel comfortable. I don't want you to feel you have to do what I've done, but for the more established and more experienced painters, you'll put in more. For the lesser, you put in less, and you just make the pieces bigger. So, not a problem for whatever experience you have. Let me just look at these things for a minute so you can see. And I'm going to show you how I went out and actually did some reference photography. This is the Montclair Diner. These are my pals there. This is Maud and Angela and Jennifer. And this is the front of the building. And it's a little diner in Upper Montclair. And we like to go there for coffee and sometimes Saturday morning breakfast. So this was I wanted to put that down on paper. And these people are very dear. And we've been going there for a long time. So here's what happened to that. Now, when I say portraits or people, I should say, when I say people, I don't mean portraiture. I mean, you're going to be capturing the character of that person. So if you see the two gals here, what I took from both of these was her glasses around her neck, her headband, the tilt of her head, a glorious smile, and just what comes to me and tells me about those two ladies. So that's what you need to do. If you're going to have a person, try to capture their character, not so much a realist. I mean, certainly if you've been in there and you know them, you will recognize them, but not necessarily as a portrait. So, and what made me start on this side of the paper? Well, the building bled off the page. So I started here. And then because I write, left to right when I'm writing, that's a natural instinct to do that. So then I came down and I said, well, these are kind of contained. And then I wanted to put something big. So this is going to be an iris from the iris garden, a big iris. Then I went to something that said Van Vleck to me. And they're what is it, the fountain that's very distinctive in the gardens. These are little bottles of nail polish. And I wanted to work in a place, and the place where I have my nails done, because they're very nice to me as well. So I'm trying to capture things in my life that are meaningful. Then I went across the page, and there's a wonderful little florist, been there more than 100 years, Bartlett Greenhouse on Grove Street. Then, of course, this adorable old farm Applegate that has wonderful ice cream and frozen yogurt and lovely stuff during all year round, actually. And then up here, I put in, this is Edgemont, and this is the drinking fountain. And this is, just the landscape of Edgemont with the water running through. So it goes around the page, and that's what I would like you to start thinking about. Like and I'm going to show you when I did this was my first idea, but then I had things I had to work in. And when I first went to the diner, this gal was not there. So I happened to show the two other ladies this, and she said, "Hey, what about me?" So I had to go back and take her picture and include her, of course. And let me just go through the reference really quick. Here's the iris that I want to use, this nice big iris. And that's the other thing to keep in mind. Some things are smaller, some things are larger. So you're going to, and some things are quieter in color and some things are more intense. So that's what you have to work out when you do your color sketch. Where did I put that now? Oh, here we go. So that's what you have to think of. Now, this particular color sketch is done very lightly. So I didn't go in and do detail of darks, but I left a lot of lights because I wanted to be able to go in there and either, remove or make them darker, or I can't make them lighter, but I wanted to enhance them. So then we went and then here's my gal Patty at the nail salon, and I put her leaning on bottles of polish, which I thought was kind of cute. And she wasn't real happy about this, about posing, but she did anyway. So that was cute. Then I went to, this was Van Vleck. And at first I had done the, which you saw here, done this fountain. And I went back and I looked at it again and I said, no, I just love that fountain. But what I needed was some identification. I like this fence. And I thought that the sign was good. And I wanted to add some more signage into the painting, which I didn't have here. I only had Bartlett and Applegate and a little bit of Montclair Diner. So after that, let's see, where are we? And this is important. It may seem a little tedious right now, but here's the florist sign. I went outside. If you all don't know about that florist, you need to, because, oh my God, these are their greenhouses. They let me walk around. Look at these cherubs on the ceiling of their little storefront. It's fabulous. And then here is Edgemont, where it has the little fountain, the bench, and this tree with a light fixture. So after collecting all your reference, then it's time to look at the actual composition. So I'm not sure everybody can see everything, but we'll try our best. How's that?
Karen?
Yes?
It's Camille again. What size is that paper?
What size? That's a good question. Let me see. It is 12 by 16.
12 by 16. Okay.
It's one of my favorite sizes because, first of all, it fits on so that you guys can see where I'm headed. A bigger pad, maybe a bigger painting and a better painting, but it wouldn't be practical. Okay, so I'm going to start again in the upper left. And I do have let me just move this over a little bit. I do have the Montclair Diner awning. I have the three gals right here. I've added Jennifer. Now I have just a really light sketch of the iris. I have Miss Patty from the salon and her polishes. When I went back and did Van Vleck, the fountain, I interrupted that and put their sign where it says Van Vleck House and Garden. So I thought between Montclair Diner, Van Vleck, Bartlett, and Holstein's, I thought that was a good transition of identities through the town. So moving over, I'm going to go over this way a little bit and down. Here's Applegate the actual structure. Here's the little cow, because my granddaughter always said, let's go to the cows, not let's go to Applegate. So I thought, well, that's an identity thing for them. And then Holstein's has a really unique logo, which I showed you. This really an old-fashioned script, which I loved. And then, you know, this guy, he's going to be in that corner. So that's in essence. Oh, and then the one for Edgemont. Let's see. Here somewhere. All these pieces of, oh, here we go. This is Edgemont. And what I did was instead of it being so vertical, which is what I had, the picture I had taken, I just extended, you know, I extended it off this way and I extended it off that way. The other thing to look at when you're putting together a piece like this is you have to have concentrated areas and you have to have relief areas. And what I mean by that is there have to be areas that kind of melt into each other or meld into each other color-wise. So I'm thinking, you know, this iris is kind of soft and the colors will kind of seep over here into this. And then behind the cow, there'll be some green. And of course, there'll be green behind the Van Vleck because that's the garden. The polishes will be bright. And some of those colors, I'm going to actually pull colors from the iris into these. They may not be the colors that I have chosen or photographed, but what I'll do is try to get them to work with that. So it's areas, this area of the iris is going to be an area of relief in my mind. This area of the park up in the corner here, the greenery, the simplistic feeling of Edgemont. There may be a little duck floating back there. But this is also another relief. So we have relief here. We have a lot of concentration here and a lot of concentration here. When we get down to where the ice cream parlor is, this is all going to be kind of soft in color, except for the ice cream and the person. And then the logo is going to be pretty prominent. So those are the things you have to think about. It sounds like a lot, but for instance, if you had something as simple as, you know, you had a building of any kind, you had a flower of any kind, and maybe you had a couple of people, you know, you might have your grandchildren or something, or a person you know. There's a really lovely crossing guard down in Montclair. What if it was just these 1, 2, 3, 4, you know, what if it was just that? It could be as simple as that. And yet this may be big, but it may be soft in color. This may be, you know, more intricate. Maybe it's the church downtown that plays the bells with all the, do you know that they play the songs at 12 o'clock on the weekdays? They play songs.
At St. James Church.
James.
St.
Who is
James.
it?
St. James Church on Valley
St.
Road.
James, yes, St.
in
James.
Bellevue.
What if it was St. James and then you had this might be one of the, maybe this is the peonies from the garden, and maybe these are, you know, children that you know, people that you know, and this might be the crossing guard. He has his vest on. I mean, you know, so this might be large and soft, and this might be smaller, but very detailed, the church, because it can be. And, you know, and then these might be just, you know, little characters. So it can be as simple as that, or it can be as intricate as this. And you can build on it. You don't have to approach this like, oh my goodness, I have to get it all down at once. But what you need to do is you need to do a plan for yourself, which is what this is. So in this one, I think things were simpler, but look at the size of the paper. This, I think, is 9 by 12. It's much smaller. Let me see here. 11, 8.5 by 11. Excuse me. It's even smaller than that. And it's not even real watercolor paper. Oh, my goodness. How did I manage that? So, but you need this kind of a plan, whether it's a simple, you know, plan, but you need photographs. You want to get a photograph of this gentleman. You want to take a picture of the church. You want to have a reference for flower, whether you take it or not. And you want to have, something of these people. Or they don't have to be people if you only want to address one person. If you're a little hesitant about portraiture, and it's not really portraiture, it's characterization. Characterization. So please keep that in mind. Okay. Now, do we have any questions yet in the chat?
Hi, Karen. This is Lita. I have a question.
Okay.
When you talk about soft and intense colors, maybe a stupid question, but whatever. I just started.
No, it's
Are
okay.
you talking about like a blurred color or the actual color?
Well, let me give you an example. Let's see here. That's the best way to look at it. Okay. Look at this. Look at this iris. To me, these are soft colors. If you look at the nail polishes up here, those are strong and intense. So that's the difference between soft colors and intense colors. And even the fountain at Van Vleck, this is very laid back. I mean, it's gray. It has a little bit of this greenish tint to it, but so we have soft colors, soft but bright, soft but bright. Then we have intense, and then we have something that's very subtle. Does that help you, Lita?
Yes, it does. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, sure. Okay, so before I move on, and I'm going to start painting actually, but I want to just make sure we don't have any more questions at this point, because this is a critical point, and we need to have people ask what they need to ask. Anybody? Oh my goodness, it's so
I hate
fun.
to be the question maybe leader again.
That's all right. Go ahead.
what-
Everybody, I'm sure, has the same questions.
What kind of pencil? That's a pencil sketch right on the watercolor paper, which I
Yeah.
find a lot of difficulty with. Is there a particular pencil that you're using? Are you concerned that the pencil lines will show through?
I'm not concerned about that. I have never been concerned about that. I don't know why, but somehow they just, look what happened here. I did the same thing here. And then after I was done with laying some paint in, I just went over and erased. And so what? There's a pencil in there. A little bit of pencil says watercolor.
Okay.
So, and if you're really concerned, I mean, you need a guide, and I use a very soft pencil, like an HB, a real soft pencil. So try some pencils and, keep them. You don't want anything dark. You don't want anything hard. So you
Okay.
need something on the softer side. Okay. And another thing I did, Lita, when I'm actually done sketching, or I feel pretty finished and confident about it, I take my kneaded eraser and I go back in and I don't erase, I lift. I put the eraser down and I lift the intensity of the pencil off of there. Lifting. Okay.
Mhm.
All righty. Anyone else?
Aaron, I have a question about how you did the layout. You sort of said you started in the upper left corner.
Yes.
Then did you build down and across, or did you go then maybe to the lower right corner and put in specific things that were important to you?
No, I actually started upper left, and then I knew that was pretty busy. I knew that the gals with the front of the store was busy. So I said to myself, okay, simple. This is going to be kind of colorful. Now I need to back off a little bit. So I'm going to put the iris in. So I worked upper left, down, over. I went from the iris to Miss Patty at the salon to Van Vleck. Then I looked at the reference that I had for the Applegate, and I said, well, I wanted that barn to bleed off the edge. So then I went from the barn, and I had these two things meeting. So everything that's at the lower right and upper right were done after that. So it was number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, number 6.
Okay.
And I looked at what happened here, and I said, okay, busy, soft, simpler, intense because that barn is really red. And then of course, I moved Bartlett up into the middle because I didn't want to have Holsteins and Bartlett on top of each other. So it's Montclair Diner and then Van Vleck, Bartlett, Holsteins. So that was and I kept going back to this. That's why this roadmap for yourself is incredibly important, and it doesn't have to be well done. It just has to be thought out. You know, it's not a contest of drawing here. It's planning. It's more planning for yourself and seeing how big and small things are. That's the other thing. Who cares that the iris is real big? You know, it's soft and beautiful, and it balances out the barn because that's pretty big over here and it's going to be red. And then I have a little bit of red up in here with the flowers. They have these two vases in front of the Montclair Diner that have same red. That's the other thing. You need something to carry your eye. Red here, a little bit of red and pink in here, a little bit of red here. And, you know, and I was even thinking when I look back at Van Vleck with the fence, and I know I'm going to have some green going in here, behind here. Do I need to add any flowers in here? I think that would be something at the end. Or I would leave the green light enough that I could add something on top. Or just leave it white if I wasn't sure. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, don't feel you have to do this. Maybe you do this. Better. Maybe you do it a little better. But I would say at the very least in your painting, I would like to see 3 elements. 3. At the very most, you can be, you know, you can fill your page. And if it's something in between, that's okay too. Oh, hang on, sorry. Just hit the doodah. Okay, so let me get started with the, you know, I'm gonna actually start up in the left-hand corner once again with the diner. And and you all know about, oh, any more questions right now?
Yeah, I have a question. So you've used local areas and sites that, you know, are meaningful to you over the years and whatnot. But, you know, we're not going to stay just to this kind of thing. It could be like anything. It could be anything that has connections, right?
That's right. Anything that has connections. It could be theater. It could be reading. It could be nature.
Okay.
Anything that has a connection. The main thing here is to get things that are related on one
Got
page
it.
to work together.
Okay.
It's not an easy concept, but I know you guys, if I don't challenge you a little bit, then you know, where are we going? You have to learn something from each experience. And listen, you may do the roadmap and say, oh boy, I don't know where I'm going to take this, but you know, it could be, if you're in your kitchen, it could be things related, a teacup, this, that, things that are, you know, they're related to each other. Okay, Lynn, don't be afraid. I see Lynn. Oh my God. Okay, but don't be afraid at all. Just do what you can and make it work. Okay, and we'll get there. All right. So I just want to put these things away. I'm going to start with the diner. So I'm going to get that reference out. That's the other thing. You must keep your reference handy and close by because you're going to, like it says, refer to it. And working on a painting that's this size, I can work a little bit in the upper left, whereas where I'm going to start, it's kind of, well, it's kind of blown out there a little bit. I don't know what to do about that light, but bear with me. Okay, so the first thing I would do, because I'm looking at this banner that says Montclair Diner, the first thing I would do is quickly, and it doesn't have to be perfect, is put in that lettering, which I'm going to do with masking fluid. I know that's your favorite subject. Well, you know, the more you do, the better you get. And that's the only thing I can say about that. Okay, so, and I'm just going to put in the words Montclair Diner, of course. And if you look at it, it's a typeface that what I call, it's Roman, it's thick and thin. So, and it doesn't have to be perfect. I gave myself 2 guidelines to be the top and the bottom. These letters have serifs on them, which mean they have little feet. You guys know about serifs?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that comes back to my advertising days. And the other thing is, many artists lose their way with spelling in paintings because they're looking at each letter like it was, all by itself and not a word. So try to keep reminding yourself that it has to say something. Okay, so here's Montclair with the feet, and then Diner over here next to it. I'm not going to do an awful lot of this masking fluid on this painting because I don't think it needs it. But there are things that you want to really work, which are the words. And you possibly could go back in and try to paint them in white, but that's painful. So you don't want to do that. Okay. So there's Montclair Diner. All right. And if you notice under that, there's a line. There's a thin line. So I'm going to attempt to put that in. Why not? Okay. And I'm not going to do anything else here with masking fluid. You know what I might do is I might do Bartlett, the florist over there, just so that they can. No, you know what? My hand will be over that, so I don't want to do that. Okay, so let's say we're starting with the Montclair Diner. And of course, I can't put that blue over that, but I'm going to work all around that. In fact, I think I'm going to start with the people because I know lots of people are afraid of people. So we're not going to, and these gals are so adorable. This one's Maud, Angela, and Jennifer. Okay. Now to mix flesh tones, which is where I'm going to start because I want to get the character of the faces. So Maud is a little black gal. Angela is of Greek heritage, and she's, just regular white flesh tone. And so is Jennifer. Now let me see if I have that other picture. But if you look carefully at the characters of these ladies, Maud doesn't do much with lipstick. Angela does pretty red, and Jennifer a little bit. But she's holding a red strawberry, and she was very proud of that. So I included that in my drawing. I said, well, that'll be nice because of the red flowers, the red strawberry, her red lips. So I kept all that in mind. And, the other thing that might be something to do with I think I might just leave that and try to paint around that where it says Montclair Diner on her shirt, because that might be a nice repeat of Montclair Diner, Montclair Diner. We'll see. In back of them is this case, but I'm going to put in like some flesh tones and just leave those. And then the other character pieces here are the hanging glasses, the wide blue headband, which is nice because the blue in the banner and the blue in the headband are kind of repetitive. So that's kind of cool. And there's a piece of counter that's right here. That's also that same blue. These are things I would really like you to kind of notice and take note of when you're doing this kind of work is take note in your head of things that are related. I mean, even Angela has a pen hanging down from her neck and it has a blue cap on it. So I thought, oh, how fun. Blue, blue, blue there. And in the blue counter. So I said, well, there's a relationship there. And you have to think of that area as a small painting that you're working on just by itself. But at the same time, what happens when it, melts into these other things? What happens up here in this case behind them? What happens here? Well, I think the sky of the of Edgemont just goes off softly into that. But I'm not going to be addressing that today. We're going to get to the ladies. Okay. All right. Now, all of my experience through the years of mixing flesh tones is to start with a basic mixture. And this is what I've always done since I'm painting and since I first learned to mix colors when I was like 9 years old. I just remember the instructor saying, well, you know, flesh tones, let's let me see if I can lift this up on here a little bit. Yeah, I'll put it right on top of the painting. Okay, this is a little bit of red and quite a bit of water. And you have to rinse the brush, of course. Then you're going to put a little bit of yellow. Okay, that's changing it to kind of like a little peachy color. You might need a little more. And then we're going to add a tiny bit. And when I say tiny, I mean tiny. And try it over here first, and then a tiny bit of blue. Now, if that looks a little bit too red, and you know how I always have you, where's my testing pad paper here? You always want to test. This looks a little bit too red to me, or a little on the purple side. So I'm going to add again, and this is something you just have to work at. Add more yellow. And do I like that? Well, it's a little bit dirty, but it's getting there. It's getting there. So red, yellow, and a tiny bit of blue is where you start. And you can even go back and water it down a little bit. So I think this is going to be like my middle tone. So now I think that Angela and Jennifer are going to fall into the middle tone, and maybe even Jennifer is going to be on the lighter side because she's or Angela is really, really pale faced in her skin tone. But you know, and then Maud, we're going to enhance a little bit. Okay, so let's see if I can. There's only so much room here. Okay, so and I'm going to put the skin tone all over her face. You know, all over her face, and then down her neck and her ears. And then I believe there's a hand right in here. So I'm just going to put a little bit of color right there. Okay. Then let me go to Jennifer. I put a little yellow in hers to make it a little bit different. Add a little water, and I'm going to put that. And you can see there's a difference there. And Jen has a very long face, and that's the character that I wanted to portray, was tall and long there. So that's what I did. And then she's just got a little bit of her neck showing. Okay. Now there's Maud. So now we take this color and we're going to go back and we're going to add a little bit of gold. It's like a golden, okay, where's Cheryl? What's that gold, Cheryl? That Q gold.
Quin something or other, quinadidine.
I know. I call it Q gold. So I added some of this gold, or it can be yellow ochre if that's what you have. You know, don't go crazy, but you can see the difference in the three. Now you can see the difference in the three tones. So I'm going to take a little bit of that, and I'm going to look at Maud, and she's got a little tilt in her head, and she's also showing a little bit of neckline. And she has her arm coming out, and she has a little bit of hand down here. So if you looked at those three, you could see that there's a little bit of, you know, tonal difference. And what you can do if you want to right away is you can, if you want to add a little pizzazz or a little jazz or whatever, pizzazz, let me see. Let me get a
Quinacridone.
Quinacridone, there is that cue. Okay. And what I might do right now is, because it's a little damp, I might add a little, you know, a little rosy tone to the forehead, a little bit of, and, you know, like I said, please understand me that this is, you're capturing the character of the person. You're not doing a portrait.
Karen, this is Camille again. Is there some way we could see larger what you're doing?
No, I don't know.
Oh, is Michelle there?
Wait a minute. Let me.
I am, but it's about the camera, not about the screen that I'm showing. You'd have to get the camera closer, I think, Karen, to make it big.
Let me see if I can, well, you know what? Maybe I can do this. Whoops. No, it doesn't.
Oh,
Oh,
it's getting better. Yeah.
it's better. Okay. You know
Oh,
what?
oh.
I'm gonna move, I'm also gonna move the pad.
Yeah, yep, move the pad towards the bottom left.
Yeah.
Yep, there you go.
Okay. Great. Thank you.
Okay. So that's, and I'll tell you, on camera, it appears more muddy when you see it in person. And of course, it will dry back. It will be, softer. Okay. Okay. So now, let me just get back to adding a little color to these ladies. And, you can put a little shadow in there a little bit. And the way that you do some of these shadows in flesh tone is just go back to the original mixture and just add either a little bit of blue or a little bit of the ochre to it. Okay, and oh, we have to put in Jennifer's hand with the strawberry, which I have right here. And just keep everything really light at this point. Keep everything really very light, because this is your planning stage. This is the layer that gives you the plan for the whole painting. Okay, so that's what else I'm going to do right now, because I can, is I'm going to put in a little bit of the building, a little bit of this brick color. So let's see what we got here.
Karen, I have a question about the smile. So you went right over the entire face with the smile.
Yeah, I'm
Do
going
you
to
not try to kind of leave the teeth white?
You can, or I can put it in after, or I can just I can blot that out, or even lift. I can lift some of that. It's a little hard to do that at this size. So
Yeah.
I think on the first one I may have left that open. No, I didn't, and it's no big deal. It says Maud.
Okay.
It says Maud. Now this I'm putting in, and all of these colors now are being put in very lightly as a first layer. So the area around the window is brick. So I'm just going to put in a brick color, and then I will be adding to that after. Adding the patterns to that. So I'm just going to put in a quick wash to show, that's that. Maybe you won't see it yet, but I'll move it over. Yeah, you can see, right? Okay. And then there's a little bit coming down here, and I'm leaving the window open and the awning open. And then, just this is your roadmap. And when you go back to do all your detail, it's going to be really nice. You'll see. Okay. And because Maud has a black shirt, I'm just going to go around that. But then if I paint that in, it'll go right over the brick. So there's no problem there. And the same thing with the flowers in that, container outside. Okay. So now,
Karen, excuse me, it's Marie Claire. Could you let us know what size brush you're using?
right now, this is an 8.
Thank you.
Yeah. And, it's one of my favorite sizes. Now this brick area that's behind Maud's head is a little darker. So I'm not going to touch what I've already painted in there, because that would make a mess. I'm trying to just get something darker in there and around her head. And now, what happens when we get up here where you say, okay, you want to end this particular area? So you rinse your brush, and what you're going to do is softly, what I call vignette off. So you see how I just vignetted that away, so that the sky from Edgemont is going to move into that. In fact, you know what? I'll I'll try some of that right now. Some of these things are going to blend together, and forgive me for what happens, but that's just what the nature of watercolor. So let me put
Karen, you're off camera now on the artwork.
on the artwork. Okay, there we go.
It needs to be slid down, I guess.
Yeah, there we go. Okay, so the blue from the sky, that Edgemont is here, and then there's that, what do you call it, light fixture. And then when I get over in deeper to where Edgemont is, I might pick up on the blue a little heavier and, you know, just make it transition where it goes from lighter or darker to lighter, so that these two things are now melding together. Oh, wait a minute. See that? Okay. So now I'm going to go down to the eye. Well, I'm going to put a little color behind the gal's heads there. And what that is, it's a glass cabinet. So it's kind of a green color. Let me just see if I can get something that we like there, you know, that also, you know, it's a green color, but it has to look good with whatever else is happening in the painting. It's also glass. So you want to, you don't want to make it, pardon? Anybody have a question?
Karen, excuse me, this is Camille again. I was thinking, you know, sometimes we see the big picture and not all the other stuff. Maybe I'm not in that view, but if we could see the big picture of what you're doing and nothing else, how does that?
Well, that's kind of impossible for what I'm going on here. Okay.
Sorry.
All right, but I'll move it back so you can see it in a few minutes. Okay, but I'm just going to put this, and this color, this green that is this glass case behind them. You don't want it to be like heavy duty, because it is glass, and you want to leave, you know, a little white here and there. So let me move this now. I'll move it back a little bit. And also I have to back up with the camera. So right now we're building from this area down, building from this area down. Now I think that the masking fluid is dry, so I'm going to try to go back in and put some of that blue from that awning, because I think that would start to hold together. While you're painting this, you know, there's really no rules about what do I do? How do I start? Where do I stop? When, you know, it's called moving around and thinking about what's going on. So I'm going to go right over, and because this awning has these little scallops along the edge, I'm going to actually include that at the same time. And it's not about being, you know, perfect. It's about creating an impression. You know, do you know what it is? Do you have a feeling of what's going on? I think you certainly do. Okay, so there's the blue. Now I'm going to go right over the words and the line so that we'll know we can get that typography working for us. And then the top of the awning is there. Try to get it as straight as you can. Okay, gonna go over it again a little bit. And then if you want, you can, if you want to really dress up or clean up your scallops, you can go back and you can enhance them. You can even use a smaller brush. I'm using a bigger brush to get the feel. But does it, you know, does it do it justice? And I believe it does. Because, you know, I'm the kind of painter that likes a little freedom in what's going on. I don't like everything to be so exacting. I like my own personality to show through, good or bad. Okay. And then some of that darker blue needs to just be moved around a little bit. Okay, so there's the awning, and here you can see where we are. And then I'm going to build, there's a piece of roof there, and there's a little bit of white that I'm going to leave in between. But right now that area is pretty wet. So I'm going to leave it. And I might even, if I need to put a shadow under that, if I need to put the glass window, there's a glass window under here, but you can't do anything that's touching. You guys all know that. Okay, now, so far, how we doing? Everybody's not flipping? Okay. All right. Now, you know what I think I'm going to do? I think I'm going to go down and try to add some of the color of the iris. Okay.
Karen, it's Cheryl.
Yes.
I noticed that underneath the window there's a blossom.
Oh yeah, that's okay because I'm going to be doing a brick pattern on top.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I know. It is what it is. I can what do you call it? I can smooth it over now if I need to.
Oh, okay.
But I'm not worried about that
Okay.
because by the time I put the brick pattern in there, we won't even see it.
I always worry when that happens to me.
I know. And you know what? I saw it and I said, well, just keep going. We can't be crazy at this point. Okay. So now this is the beginning of this, and leave it alone for a while. And then when you're done down here or done over here, you go back, you put your roof line in, you put a little bit of the glass in. You're going to put these planters in with the little red flowers. You're going to put your brick pattern in. And that might be something that I save for next week. Maybe you want to see that happen. I'll just, keep moving. I won't do a lot more on the painting. I'm going to try to do this step by step that, we can all see it. Okay. So if I went down to where the iris is, you can see, I have the drawing of, oh, maybe I should move this up a little. Okay. Move this over a little bit. Okay. So, we have some greenery and I'm going to try to put in this pink that I see, because I think that's, and then I'm going to leave some of the paper showing here and anything that's going over that or any of the yellows. Here, another thing you might do is, hey, bring up some of the techniques that you know. Is this something that would be good where it would be wet on wet? What do you think, guys?
Yeah.
I think so too, because the flower is.
Yes.
Who said that? Nobody? Okay. All right. Well, that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to lay some water in here. And see what happens. I'm only going to lay it in where the flower is. I'm not going to, and I see that there's a little bit of blue on this brush, but hey, that's okay. Okay. So, some of it is masking, some of it is direct painting, some of it is layered on painting. Now, here we go with this wet on wet. And that pink is kind of cool. It's a nice color. I think the iris gardens are moving now, right? They're finally getting going up there.
Yeah, another month.
Yeah, and how about the wisteria at Van Vleck? Are they in motion, or does anybody know? Has anybody seen anything there?
I think that'd be
They
next
usually
month.
It's
It's just a little early for the wisteria. They're starting to form, but they're not like flowery yet, but they're forming if you look closely.
Okay, well, that's a good sign. Okay, so now I have this kind of fuchsia color. I have a little bit of this purple color. Let me look at the rest of it. And of course, we have some golds. So right now, I'm not looking to make detail on this. I'm looking to lay in the basic colors, the colors that are going to be laid into the wet surface. Okay. Let me just send this back so I can have more room. So you guys, I wish there was a way to show everything, everything at once here, but okay. So now let's see, we'll go up along the edge of the flower. And you know what's nice about involving technique here is that that's what'll happen when your eye looks at the painting. It will be involved. It won't be just one stagnant, and this is all going to appear as one area because it's going to melt together. Okay, so there's a little bit of purple here, and I can always add to this later. I'm going to leave that kind of going to add that in there. And then on the bottom, let's see, that's kind of a magenta color in this bottom piece. And you know, here, the edge is really painted in and the very tip. And what you can do right now is you could drop in, it's a little bit wet, but you could indicate that it's not fully, you know, you could do the same thing up here, but I'm just trying to get some color in here so you can see the whole form. Okay, now I'm going to add some of the yellow, which this is a cadmium yellow, so it's pretty strong. And I'm just going to drop it in. And all the detail is going to come later, because that's what, now behind Miss Patty's head, she's not going to like that too much, but that's okay. Okay, and then down in here, we have more yellow. And there's a little bit over here, not a whole lot, but a little bit. But you can see how it's going from more detailed, direct painting, softer wet on wet, and the progress that the painting is going to take on. And, you know, I'm adding a little water here just to soften the edges a little bit. And then when this is dry, I can go back and I can add in the greenery, which I will do. And it will just be a medium green because I will add in all the detail and everything later. And I'm going to soften the edge along Miss Patty's hair here. Okay, so that's kind of building, and that's how it would be. You know, this area, think about what happens across here. What's going to happen with these bottles down here? Let me just, let me get to that picture. I may. Oh, duh. So you can see that some of the colors in the polish, this could be the pink, the yellow, and then maybe I change one of those to purple. And, you know, that'll be repeating over here. What happens down here, you ask? Well, I think that because that's going to involve greenery, that's exactly what's going to happen there. I'll add a little bit of.
Can you move the painting up a little?
Sure. One moment. Oops. Yikes. Where did it go? Okay. And then what I'm going to do is she has her hand there. So I'm going to just put some green here just to say to myself, okay, that's what's happening there. And where the bottles are, this is just going to softly, I might leave green in there, you know, just And if I want to change it, I could change it later. You could, this is kind of wet here. I'm taking a daring trip, but that's okay. And then here, up in here, and you can look at the reference for what's going on. And you can soften these edges as well with just a little water so that you don't have this, it's not very stark. It's not very stark. And if I decide that the green under the bottles is not quite right, I'll change it. I'll just put color over it. But you can see the way it's moving down and around. Is that helpful? I'm gonna just make this softer here. Okay, and remember, this is not about how many items you have on your painting. It's about things that are related, and it's about things that you like. That's what it's about. And we're creating a painted collage, meaning things that are put together, not necessarily pasted on top of each other, but put together as a painting. Okay, I'm going to take this last few minutes for questions and how we're doing so far. And is this what you're looking for more, to see this kind of development? Yes, no?
Karen, it's Marie Claire.
Yes, dear.
Absolutely. I can't tell you how helpful it is to watch you through these different stages, because in the past, I've always heard the term layering.
Yes.
And I know we haven't gotten quite there yet, but I've never actually understood how to do that. So this is very helpful to me in particular. Thank you.
Okay, well, you're going to see a lot of layering when it comes to this flower, because now we have on like layer one, we have the same thing with the bricks there. That's only a base color. And that's what's happening with the people. These are a base color and character and tonality. Maud versus Angela versus Jennifer. And this little Korean gal, she has a whole different kind of coloration. So we'll get to her next. Okay?
Karen, I was thinking that this is like, if you want to make it such, it's like doing a week in the life.
Yes. Oh, yes. Absolutely could be. And you know what?
Because
Now, what about your travels? This is right here. I feel like I've been surrounded and held hostage. So I wanted to pay homage to all the people that have helped me through this. But sure, I mean, I've done so many things like this when I'm traveling, and I have a page in my book when I was in Russia, and I just kept going from one piece to another. In fact, I'll dig that out and try to show it to you next time. Okay.
Well, you're getting out a lot more than I have. I'm like, where have I been? Like, I can't figure anything out to put down.
Well, you know what? At the minute, I mean, have you been out for an ice cream? Have you been out for, the parks? I try to go to Verona Park, Edgemont Park, Brookdale Park. I mean, there's something in that rose garden. There's something everywhere. After I made my list, that's what I did first. I made my list of what I was thinking, familiar faces and places, and I wanted to, put them all together and somehow have this is the year of 2020 to me, and hopefully that this will be a memory piece for that time. But
Karen, speaking of that memory, one of the things that's been going through my mind, I'm just thinking of ideas and connections, but you have Montclair Diner, and I know the Montclair Diner, of course, but to me, the Montclair Diner will always be Louvis. It will always be Louvis.
That's correct. And I'll tell you,
most of the time that I've lived in Upper Montclair, it's always been Louvis. It's only I won't say how many years that it changed and they sold it. But so I was thinking capturing things that aren't here anymore.
That's wonderful.
But then you need old photos.
That's right. You need a picture of Alex, right? You need a picture of the
Alex, right?
right? Anything that's on that walkway
Right,
there, the
right.
Bellevue Theater. I mean,
Exactly. Yeah.
we miss that. We're missing a lot of things, but and it could be current things. John, I know you love your flowers. Maybe it's big, small flowers, the rose garden at Brookdale. Maybe it's a patch in front of Edgemont. They had a whole bunch of daffodils growing on the walkway. So put it together for yourself. You know what? Let me get back to highlighting myself here. How can I do that?
Karen,
Yes.
I have a question. It's the first time I'm here.
Who is this?
I just want to set my head straight.
Okay.
So before our next session,
Yes.
correct me if I'm wrong, you expect us to have some sort of sketch or plan of what interests us?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, and then we'll both work on the watercolor at the time of the next session. Is that the plan?
You can work on it, although what I prefer you to do, just because there's so much information, I prefer you to watch the demo.
Yeah.
And then I would like you to share during the week, if you would. Let me just go to the chat for a moment. And I'm going to put in to everyone. Yeah. I'm going to put in the, yes, my email. And what I'd like you to do is send that to me so that I can review how far you've gotten. And then you can paint, you can work along with me to see where I'm going. Because that's more important than me. You're trying to paint at the same time. Very difficult.
Karen, just as an
would like to
aside,
clarify,
I've already-
I plan to do my own original work,
Okay.
but on the topic that you brought out, where we think about things we're familiar with in the neighborhood and things like that.
Okay. Well, that's fine. That's fine.
Okay.
And then I'd like you to share it with us then next week.
Okay, thank you.
And you know what? It doesn't have to be finished, Eleanor. Get as far as you want.
Right. But you don't mind if it's original. In other words, I don't want to do the Montclair diner.
No, I don't expect everybody. I don't want, this is just a demo.
The demo, which I appreciate. I love what you showed us.
Okay.
Okay.
Everyone will have their own original.
That's my question. Okay, good.
Everyone will have their own original. And what is a phrase I have for that? Paint your own version of what you see. Paint your own version of what you see.
One more question. In your picture here, you combined things. You combined the diner, you put in an iris garden, and we could do that. We could not do one subject in the painting. We could combine a collage of things that interest us in the painting.
Absolutely. And that's the goal.
Good.
That's a combination,
Good.
but somehow the things that you're combining have something in common. They are related somehow. Okay?
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. And welcome, Eleanor.
I'm happy to be here. Believe me, I am enjoying this. Thank you.
Okay.
Eleanor,
Yeah.
just so you know, they do a recording of this too, which they put up. So you can review this also on a recording, which I found very helpful sometimes.
Or if I miss a class.
Or if you miss a class or something.
So how do I get the recording? How do you?
That's a Michelle question. Michelle, do you send an email?
I don't send out an email, but Eleanor, I'll send you the link so that you know where to go to find them. Okay.
Oh, that's wonderful. Thank you.
But it's basically lifelongmontclair.org/YouTube, but I'll send you the link.
I have one more thing to share.
I appreciate that.
I have one more thing to share. And regardless of your politics, I found that this was a wonderful, wonderful work of art and a book. And it's by our ex-president, George W. Bush. And I don't know whether you've heard of him. Here he was doing all of immigrants. And the book I had previous to that was that Portrait and Courage of the veterans. And I just want to tell you one thing about this book. Not only are his painting, he considers himself an amateur painter, but along with that, the writing that comes across when he interviews these different people is so heartfelt. This one here, I'll just do this quickly if you don't mind, because I just was so touched. His name was Joseph Kim, and he was from North Korea. And during, he told them that for the first 3 years of his life, or when he was from about 11 years old, he was living on the streets of Korea. And, he finally made it over the Chinese border. And then from China, with some help from a missionary, he made it to the United States. And he really prospered. But every story, I'm telling you, tears were in my eyes, and this and the veterans, both. So if you get a chance, get a copy, see it in the library, go to Barnes and Noble, look at it on the shelf. You will so enjoy it.
Thank you. I can't believe how good he is.
Oh, he is. He is very good. And the character, there's one of Henry Kissinger in there and Marilyn Albright. They were both immigrants, and he did a wonderful job of painting them. And it's, it's not self-taught. He's had some very, very good instruction. So there you go. Okay, so until we meet again, does anybody have any last questions? And I don't want anyone to be afraid of this. I want you to try your best. If it's a teacup, a piece of toast, and a spoon, those are related. Those are related. So get something on that paper that's related. And next week, I'm not going to do any more on this painting. I'm going to work on it as we go. And if you have something to share next week, that's what we will be doing first off. Okay?
Thanks so much.
Thank you, Karen.
Thank you, Karen.
You're very welcome.
Thanks, Karen.
Thank
Bye,
you.
everybody.
Have a good weekend.
And Michelle, if you're there, thank you so very much for helping me get on this program.
Oh, good. Welcome, welcome.
I'm so glad you came and you enjoyed it. Nice to meet you.
Same here, Michelle.
Send you that email, sure.
You were delightful. Thank you.
Thank you, Karen.
You're welcome. See you next time.